I'll keep that in mind next time I show up to Bible.
Yeah,
trivia.
next time you go to a trivia night, and they're like, the theme tonight is Bible.
I'll have you on speakerphone, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome once again to Chill Filter, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to, but you probably should, and you probably are. That's why we like you. This week, we're doing kind of a special pour. Yes, we've done something like this similarly on prior episodes, but this one's a new barrel or a new batch of barrels. It's a single barrel. It's from Michter's. It's Michter's 10-year Single Barrel Rye, specifically a 23H barrel. That being said, we can talk about some business real quick. So before we get, it's beautiful, nice curvy bottle.
Yeah.
Before we talk about any curvy bottles, let's get to some business this week. Reach out on Instagram. We got a few extra new listeners recently, and we love that. So if you've listened to a few, you listened to the 4th episode, you're already hooked on Chill Filtered. Reach out. We're not big enough to deny you entry to our talking conversations and stuff. And maybe check out our Discord. Hit us up on Instagram for that if you want details. So that's the business. Here's the podcast. Bryan, I want to talk first today. Yes. I just got back from the ABC store.
Oh yeah,
and I got a Bernheim A224.
Awesome.
A224. Yep.
Cool.
And yesterday or 2 days ago, I got another barrel proof rye from Jack Daniels.
Another.
My
what whiskey would you choose was almost what bottle do you have the most backups of? And I was like, for Cole, it's either Eagle Rare or the Jack Daniels.
Yeah, let's see. I have no Jack Daniel. Well, no. Yeah, Eagle Rare. Nope. Yeah, Jack Daniels is the one. I think I have. No, I'm sorry. I keep reverting. So I have 10 bottles of Jack Daniels barrel proof rye, and I think I have 13 or 14 or 15 of Eagle Rare. But that's all to be dranketed by me and my family, for the record.
Well, I was going to say, that's one for each table at the wedding of one of your daughters.
Exactly. That's a great idea. Just
right. Just plop it in the middle of the table.
Yeah. And say like, this came out right around when my daughter was born. That'd be killer.
For sure.
Love that idea. Maybe I won't wait until they're 21. Maybe I'll just wait until their wedding. Yeah. That's great. I love that. Okay.
And write that down.
Write that down right now. Did I ever tell you that I do videos every year for my daughters on their birthdays?
Oh, that's fun.
So like one day when they get married, I'll do like a montage of what I'm talking to my kid and saying things what I love about them every year. And then I do a little dance with them. Like the first year was like just holding them. And then, or at least back. And then the second year was dancing like on the floor with their hands up, like
nice.
And so I hope to like put together a montage at their wedding. But I also want that to kind of be a secret, but she'll know by the time she's a teen, I guess. So I guess it won't be a secret. So it'll be great.
Nice. That'll be cool. That's a good idea. I've also heard of like you set up an email account for them and then you can email them regularly. And then, you say you do that too?
Yeah. Heather, I haven't sent any emails, but Heather has set it all up, and it's like a really good email too.
Nice.
We just assume Gmail will still be big. In the 40s.
Wish I had chickpea@gmail.com. I'm sure that's taken.
So in what I think it was 2005, Gmail started. And within a few months, I got my email address with Gmail because people were like, check out Gmail. And I'm like, okay. And I just like needed a new address because I was 15 years old. My original email was albinosquirrel88@msn.com.
Nice.
But then I got like one of the, I'm not going to say it on the podcast, but I got a really simple email for Gmail. That was just, very simply my name and involved, of course.
Yeah.
And so many people, like my uncle, Chris, he's like, man, I wish I had, similar to what you have because it's, let's just say it starts with the C. Enough said there.
Write that down.
I know, right?
Same with me though. I was super early on the Gmail train, and my Gmail address is only 6 letters long.
That's nice. Yeah.
And
could you imagine trying to get a 6-letter email now?
That is there. I can't remember what the deal is, but you either can't even get a 6-letter one anymore, or it's like, they're basically all taken. Like every possible combination of letters is taken. Because I'm pretty sure, at least if it's not now, it was that 6 letters was the minimum. So, like if 6 letters is the minimum, obviously, like people are going to be like, oh, I don't care what letter combination of letters and numbers it is. I just want it to be 6 letters. So, I have the shortest Gmail address possible.
Nice. That's sweet. Yeah, it was a good time back in 2005.
Yeah.
Were you in high school probably?
2005 is my high school graduation year.
Nice.
Did you, were you early enough that you actually had to be invited by another Gmail user?
Probably. Yeah. It was months within, I remember starting.
I was well, kind of still am, but I played World of Warcraft forever. And so back, November 2004, when it came out, like I've had an active account since November 2004. So I've been playing since November 2004. And I remember just one of the buddies of the guild that I was in, he was like, hey, I'm on Gmail. Does anybody want to get in on Gmail? So like he had to send me an invite in order for me to get in.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, I'm so glad at the time I didn't make my email address like albinosquirrel@gmail.com or something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's time to grow up at one point.
No, I had a dumb one too. It was like Rapman something at Yahoo.
It's like your AIM account.
Yeah.
An AIM?
Oh man. Yeah, mine was some childhood nickname or something.
Oh, that's funny.
Something silly. Yeah.
Yeah. I think mine was like similar to my email. But I think I grew up by that point when AIM. My parents didn't want me to do any chatting online for a while. You know how it goes.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So
I'm not sure mine even knew.
No, and then I got the Google Chat for a little bit, and that I hid from them. But it wasn't. I was only talking to friends,
Right. Yeah.
They're like, stay away from chat rooms.
I know, right?
So, yeah. And sometimes we want to stay away from chat rooms these days.
I know, Reddit, right? Probably even more these days than
back
in the day. I'm sure there were some skeezes around, but in general, it was just you talking to your friends.
Oh yeah, totally. Reminds me of what is that show that was like To Catch a Predator or something like that? And they're like, I'm Chris Hansen.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. I know, right? And they're like, so they have him bring something ridiculous, like bring balloons and a half-eaten Snickers bar or something.
So funny. Yeah.
Oh man.
There should probably be like a sketch about that, like Key and Peele, or I think you should leave or something like that, where it's like you show up and you have like the funniest thing you brought. I'm trying to think of like something I feel like I have seen something like that already.
Yeah. Show up in a chicken suit and blah blah
blah.
With like 4 kilos of Coke.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like poured into individual sample bottles or something like that. Something crazy. So but yes, I got some whiskey. I had a busy week at work, but I actually am so chill about it right now. I don't even know why. Like my coworkers are freaking out, and I'm like, we'll get through it. I don't even know why, but I'll take it. I love to be more chill than I want to be anxious. So
any chance it's a difference in like company culture where like you're used to being so chill at somewhere else?
That probably has a little bit to do with it. But I also know I can go through times of anxiety no matter where I'm at.
Yeah.
But right now I'm just like, we'll figure it out. But I also, my prior companies, especially my first actuarial company, was like, it's insurance. It's not saving lives. And so
while I'm thinking about it, you ended up with a Bernheim B batch from last year also, right?
Yep. So I got all 3 batches.
All 3 now. Yeah. Yep. Cool.
Yep. So I don't know. I have 1 open, 1 closed of the first batch, but I haven't even opened the second batch or, of course, the third batch yet.
That's exactly where I'm at.
Maybe I'll just have the lineup and just keep it going.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Is like I don't really have any need to, like, like I'm kind of out nowadays. I'm kind of out on like comparing different batches of like Larceny Barrel Proof or different batches of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. So I guess maybe I should make the decision of whether I should even be buying these Bernheims at all. But I don't really have any desire to like compare batches of that. So yeah.
So ADHD Whiskey Matt, he posted someone else's story today on Instagram, and it was from a scene from what's that movie called? Daniel Day-Lewis. There Will Be Blood.
Oh,
you ever seen that movie?
I drink your milkshake.
Yeah, but it wasn't that. It was the scene where he looks at a map with the other guys. He's like, "Why don't I own that?" And that was what of course, it was like whiskey, and the caption was, "When I see another proof of the exact same whiskey I have 10 bottles of." Like, why don't I own that? Like Stag or Bernheim.
Exactly. Yeah. Good old Matt Porter.
Mm-hmm.
Portman. Maddely Portman.
He's probably used that.
That was his first email address, actually.
Yeah, exactly. At cox.net.
Yeah, perfect.
How are you doing? How's Chickpea? How's everything?
Yeah. Chickpea's good. No, the nursery's pretty much done. Pretty much. A couple of small things. We were supposed to pick up a rocking chair today.
Oh.
So this episode is not brought to you by Crate and Barrel. They ended up having the wrong color there for us to pick up when we went to pick up today. We had to drive like 45 minutes into downtown Phoenix, got to the warehouse, and they were all like ready to load it in the car. And I was like, wait, it says right there, wrong color. And then they had to bring the manager out, and they wanted to open the box and look. And so anyway, I got to call them and be like, hey, look, I need you to actually ship it to my house next time because of this.
Yeah.
So hopefully they make it right. I have a feeling it'll be all right, but
yeah. I remember that. Did you get a glider?
Yeah. It's got like a big circle base, and the chair doesn't just
those are nice.
tip forward and back. It actually kind of like swoops forward and back.
Yeah, we got one of those.
Nice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fun.
I think we didn't go crazy on it doesn't have like a ton of crazy features and stuff. It just number one for us is that we're both super tall. I mean, I'm 6'4". I think we've talked about that, but I don't think I've ever said Sam is like 5'10" or something.
Nice. She would fit into my family very well.
Nice. Yeah. So we just needed to have a chair that the back actually came up like tall enough so that we're not like head all the way back at the top. You can actually chair, like rest staring your head at the ceiling. Yeah. Right. So anyway, this fits the bill. We're excited for it, but we're excited to have the right color. So now we'll wait another 2 weeks or so, I guess.
Was it like the fabric color?
Yeah.
Yeah. Deal.
It was like a creamy white rather than gray. And it's like a baby's going to barf all over this. So I kind of don't want creamy white.
Yeah. I had a question for you. The question was, are you getting ready to be like a girl dad?
I don't even know what you mean by that. So the answer is obviously no.
Yeah. No, I didn't know what to expect. And like the funny thing was that's not true. With Gray, I didn't know what to expect because we had been through it before. We've been through a 9-month pregnancy before. And we were so focused on Beck during Gray's pregnancy time that we didn't have time to like think about what's life going to be differently and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, girls are the best. So
nice.
Yeah. I wonder if she'll have, because Sam has red hair, right?
Well, so yeah, we did a little research on this. We're no biologists or anything, whatever the right word is, but apparently it's only 100% if there's red hair genes on both sides.
I gotcha.
So it's like if there's red hair in my family somewhere, then maybe, but if there's not, then like the best we could possibly get is maybe just like a barely strawberry blonde, maybe. I don't know. Anyway.
So my sister has my color hair. Her husband has blonde hair. And they had a redhead.
Wow.
Because they each had like somewhat distant relative. Like my side was my grandmother had red hair.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember what his side had. but there was enough to make a redhead, and like a
probably
bright
red in
redhead
there somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, needless to say, Sam is dying to have a redhead little daughter, and of course that would be adorable. But I just don't expect that to happen.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Neither did they.
Yeah, I know, right? Anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he might be in there somewhere. And then the fun thing is, I have hazel eyes, and then Heather has blue eyes, but I have a blue gene, a recessive blue, and we had two blue-eyed girls, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah, nice. Hadn't even thought about eyes. I guess
about a quarter chance of happening. Both kids have blue eyes.
Yeah.
Do you have blue eyes? What do you have?
So mine are hazel also, meaning that I only just looked this up not too long ago. Okay. Hazel means it's a different color on the inside than the outside.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just thought it was like brown with a shade of green.
Well, so it ends up being that the outside, what's the color area called? Is that the iris?
Yeah, I think so.
We'll just roll with that. If I'm wrong, whatever. But the outside of that iris is like a dark color, and then as you get to the inside of that iris, it like changes into the bright color or something like that. And that's what hazel is. It's like it's a multicolor definition.
That's interesting. Well, whatever I have a brown green. You can't see it in this video at all. It looks very brown.
Yeah.
But in the right lighting, you're like, oh, there's definitely some green there.
Yeah, but mine are like blue-green hazel.
That's
where
cool.
Like if I'm wearing a blue shirt, they look blue. If I'm wearing a green shirt, they look green. More often than not, they look green though. Yeah.
That's cool. I did not know that.
If I put a bottle of Michter's right up to my face, they look green like this.
Yeah. Right, well, you see the brown and the green. No, I'm kidding. There's no brown. But I guess if I held the bottle of Michter's Rye up to you see the brown of the liquid and the green of the label.
Yeah. You could have Michter's Rye and bourbon, one in each hand, and you could just go, what?
Yeah.
What?
Exactly. Yeah. No,
right. We've gone too long here.
Yeah, probably. I was looking into this recently. You know what heterodichromia is? Something like that.
So I'm gonna guess multicolored eyes.
Yeah, one eye is different color than the other.
Okay, yeah. I was going off prefixes there.
Yeah, you can just break it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what was it? Oh man, I'm all over the place. I was looking up David Bowie recently, and I was like, oh, did he have heterodichromia? And apparently he didn't, even though his eyes were two different colors. He had a problem with one of his eyes was always dilated, so it looked darker.
Whoa.
So if you ever look it up, he's got a really cool look, and it's like two different looking eyes.
Yeah.
But one just looks darker because it's pretty dilated. Yeah.
That's interesting.
David Bowie, for the record, if I could have a celebrity grandfather, it would totally be him. Of course, he's passed, but man, who would be more of a BA than that guy?
Right. I know of him. I know songs, but I don't know anything like about him though.
Oh, he's such a cool guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
He'd have a lot of good grandpa stories.
Oh, dude. He's a rock star.
I know, right? Yeah. I'm sure he's got.
I know you know that, but like literally, like or not like just in every way, he's a rock star.
Yeah, you know? I gotcha. Yeah, nice. You got to tell me what's your entry buzzing though.
Oh yeah, I got some Rampur. I was thinking about it today. I was like, I really like that. Why haven't I sipped it since I liked it? So I'm sipping it. It's got really nice notes of elderberry, so I'm digging it.
Nice. It's fun to see what price it's like a game. What price is the Rampur? Right. Every time I walk into Total Wine, I swear. Oh, well, Costco had it too. Yeah.
But
Total
Wine
changes. Yeah, though it'll be 80, it'll be 100, it'll be 120, it'll be back to 100, it'll be down to 80. It's just like all over the place. It's like a game every time I walk in to see what it is. But I ended up with the one bottle that I've got. And I think I ended up paying like 100 for it or something. Worth it. Yeah, it's real good. Comes in a real fancy bag too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's got like a leathery looking bag.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to see what I'm entry buzzing on.
Yeah.
I ended up being able to acquire a sample of a Brook Hill Rye.
Nice.
Yeah. So we had the bourbon on the show a couple episodes ago. So I'm entry buzzing on a Brook Hill Rye now.
Is it phenomenal?
So it is a little subita phenomenal.
Okay.
I enjoyed the bourbon more than I enjoyed this because the bourbon just had so much rich butterscotch thickness. And it's super, super good. I do really like it. You can tell that it's special right away. So it's A or A plus territory for sure. But it might just not be quite for me. But it's got a little bit of butterscotch in there too, and it's it's pretty potent. It's definitely an experience of just like, it's very powerful in intensity and everything. And there's a good amount of pepper there. There's a good amount of rye spice, and I'll be sipping this a little bit longer. Maybe I'll throw out a couple more notes too. But
that's cool.
I think all in all, I'm on the bourbon train as far as Brook Hill goes.
Nice. Yeah, at least you got the full bottle of the bourbon, so that's what's nice. All right.
Good caramel too.
So
caramel on a rye also is not very normal.
Oh, what's that?
Caramel on a rye usually is not too common.
Not my favorite note on a rye, but it's a good note, but not my favorite note. I like that hard candy, fruity, but mostly hard candy sweetness. I love that.
For sure.
Speaking of hard candy, fruity goodness, we're drinking a rye today. And before I get into the history, I want to ask you, why did you acquire this specific barrel?
So Breaking Bourbon, very prominent website, breakingbourbon.com. They've only given out, I don't know, 4 or so perfect scores over the entire lifetime of the website. And one of those is 2023 Michter's, which is a single barrel product. And the barrel that Breaking Bourbon reviewed was 23H. What is it? 1895? No,
2895.
2895. Okay, yeah. So and I reached out to Michter's, they did not grace us with a response, but I was just asking questions like, how does the barrel numbering go? What does H even mean? Are there different warehouses and that's what the letters are? So I didn't find that information out. Unfortunately, maybe I could have dug a little harder. Maybe it exists out there, but I did not find it. And so everyone's keyed up on an H barrel. If people who are slinging these on a secondary market are marking up their H barrels because Breaking Bourbon said so.
Yeah, that's like when Henry or McKenna's started going for like a ton of money because homeboy Scott, or what do you call it, the
who is it? I don't even know.
Who am I thinking of? The Ascot Awards guy.
Oh, Fred
Minnick. Yeah.
Yeah.
He like gave it the best bourbon of the year, and so they just started flying off the shelves.
All you had to say,
and
was
they still
Ascot,
are. You can't. They're allocated now more than ever.
Yeah. And the I don't know if the MSRP increased, but at least my total wines price has skyrocketed since. Now they're like, I don't know, 100 or something, and they used to just be like 60. Somewhere around there. But
did I ever tell you I got a barrel, or I'm sorry, I got because they don't do dump dates, they do fill dates.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so I got a 10-year that was filled 10 years exactly to the birth of my daughter. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, it was on her birthday, but 10 years before, and it's a 10-year bourbon. So, but it probably wasn't dumped on her birthday, but hey, it became a 10-year bourbon on her birthday.
Yeah. So yeah, nice. That's perfect. Open it on her 10th birthday then.
Yeah.
And
yeah, exactly. I'll crack it with her in a few years.
with her.
8 years. Yeah.
Anyway, so just to be clear, so if you're looking on a neck tag of these Michter's 10-year bourbon or rye, the neck tag that says what the barrel number is, here's explicitly what it says. It says Michter's barrel number 23H whatever, or and the first 2 numbers 23, so that means that it was from 2023.
That's for sure.
I'm sure you'll say this in the history. Sorry for stepping on your toes.
No, I'm not gonna. No,
unsure what the H is, unsure what the numbers are, but anyway, it is a barrel number this. So that means that if Breaking Bourbon was 23H2895, then there exist, I don't know, 200 or so bottles from that one barrel that is 2895. So Anyway, I was all keyed up on H because I got caught up in the hype, and I was like, "What is this H? Whatever H is must be special, maybe." So I reached out to a guy, a buddy named Max here. So we're gonna rep Max for a sec. So
I got even little coasters with him on it.
Yeah, whiskey with Max here,
and that's Max with a K.
Oh yes, thank you. We are an audio podcast, so MAKS. So on Instagram, if you go to @whiskey
shout out to this guy.
Whiskey _ Max MAKS. Check out his Instagram. Give him a follow.
Yeah, check out his Instagram. I think he's a dope guy, and that's how you do a shout out. I'm not gonna name any names.
That is. I got a fridge. I got a fridge magnet too. That's on my fridge right now. That's a Whiskey with Max fridge magnet. So thank you, Max.
Baller.
Max supplied us with his limited stock of his. Oh, he gets a flick too, of course.
Yeah.
Max supplied us with his with a little bit of his limited stock from his Michter's 10 to both of us here for us to be able to review it on this podcast. And his is an H barrel. His is a 23H3101. So it is, I don't know, 100 or so higher than the Breaking Bourbon barrel. And
so it must be better.
It must be better. It's higher, yeah. And then I managed to acquire on my own another H barrel. So I have here in my little hand the Michter's barrel number 23H2890. And if you've been writing all this down, you've noticed
someone's tracking it.
You've noticed that mine is only 5 digits below the Breaking Bourbon barrel that they reviewed and gave 5 out of 5. So theirs was 289.
The one we're drinking today, or the one you have?
Sorry, the one that I'm drinking today. I'm gonna drink both. I'll explain all later, maybe better with more sound mind. But Breaking Bourbon 2895, Bryan Rapp 2890, and Max 3101. You will hear about 3101 and the 2890 today.
Nice. This is a beautiful bottle. I love the Michter's 10 or the Michter's, single barrel and like the 10 and above. The thick base, you know what I'm saying? Base, curvy shoulders. What a bottle.
Tall shoulders, tall curvy shoulders. I remember that you specifically said when the question was, what whiskey do you enjoy presenting on your shelf? You chose this one. So pretty whiskey.
In terms of the bottle, that's winner.
Yeah,
it stands out. It's kind of flat. I mean, it's sexy, man.
I'm excited to hear your history about this.
So let's get into that. But before we do, let's send it to a quick break. We're back. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being back. It's a long break music. You could have given up.
That's true.
Quick notes to get to before we get to the history. Most of our drink along samples have been couriered. If you are on Patreon and haven't gotten yours yet, wait a few more days. Maybe reach out if it's by the end of the week and you haven't received your Patreon couriered samples. Bryan, yours is on the way too.
Nice. Yeah. And I am distributing amongst my people who live close as well. Oh, okay. Cool.
They probably already received theirs.
Nice.
Yeah. The courier gets around, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
So we're drinking Michter's 10-year single barrel rye, specifically a 23H barrel. This is definitely not our first episode on a Michter's product. Didn't count them all, but I wrote them all. We even did a 10-year single barrel bourbon on our 6th episode. After that, it was 129. We drank Toasted Barrel Bourbon, their first batch. Then episode 185, we drank the different vintage of the 10-year single barrel rye. This one I'm holding right here, the 2021 barrel, which was an E barrel, if anyone's asking. Then episode 2020 or 225, we drank the barrel strength rye, which was, I believe, a Bryan Rapp joint, I think.
I think so, too.
And then another Bryan Rapp joint was the Shanks and Bomburgers episode that you were on yourself.
Speaking
was that
of
one of the test episodes?
Yes, actually it was, because I
Nice.
made a shank burger for my final performance.
Nice. And it worked. You were
Speaking
saying?
of Bryan Rap joints, though, a friggin' Bryan Rap in Detroit, Michigan won the Blanton's, or no, sorry, I don't
Bryan
know that it's
R.
Bryan Rap. Yeah. Bryan R in Detroit, Michigan won the
Spelled the
Blanton's
same way
Gold.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
BRYAN. Oh my gosh.
It was close. If
Yeah,
this would
right.
have been a Virginia lottery thing, you would have been off by one name.
I believe it. I believe it.
That's the
Yeah.
joke, is like people named Aaron Aronson or something won all the antique collections last year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So anyway, we've covered the brand and basic history, but let's remind ourselves a little bit, shall we? Michter's Distillery. It all started back in 1753, one of the oldest American whiskeys, if not our oldest, and we'll get to that. At least continuing. It's not really continuing because it's really not the same distillery, but it's the same distillery that led to a brand that led to a distillery. It's weird. We'll get into it.
Huh.
Guy named John Shank, who was a Swiss Mennonite farmer living in good old Pennsylvania. Shout out to Bryce Brita, Sean Ciaro. Who else?
Did their lottery come through? Did they win anything?
Oh, I want to hear. If Bryce won, I want to hear. And same with Sean.
What if he won and he's keeping it for himself?
Yeah, he might be. He might have gotten the Eagle Rare 17. He's like, I don't know if I can give this up to
He'll
Cole.
send you a bottle with this much in it.
Yeah, I'd take it, man. We were talking yesterday. Anyway, Pennsylvania is known for their ryes, and Shank had a lot of rye because what you do when you have a lot of surplus grain is you make whiskey. And so he had so much rye that he decided, this Swiss Mennonite farmer, to get on the distillery and making that sweet, sweet whiskey. And he started a small distillery out in Pennsylvania. This is actually pre-Revolutionary War. And apparently, George Washington himself purchased Shank's whiskey during the Valley Forge winter when he was leading the American troops. Michter's, I lived really close to that growing up. Like I was like 30 minutes from Valley Forge. But anyway, when he was, the Michter's even has the slogan. You can see it on the bottle of Michter's 10 Rye. It says Michter's pre-Revolutionary War, blah, 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 blah. But it says the whiskey that warmed the American Revolution. Might be true. Really isn't, because it's not the same. Like, it's probably not the same recipe and all that stuff, but I can assure you it's not the same recipe.
Pre-Revolutionary War quality standards, almost.
That's how you know it's good. Like, did you have the recipes? Like, plus they source, so it's like, I don't even know. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But it's apparently also known that as the oldest whiskey company in the U.S., basically because of the Shank's original distillery in 1753, which produced Shank's. And then it became Bomberger's, not being interrupted until Prohibition. But then after Prohibition, it got picked up by a guy named Lou Foreman in the 1950s, after changing hands a few times in the meantime. He had two sons, Michael and Peter, and he named the brand after both of them at the same time. That's right. It's pronounced Michter's.
He didn't just name it Michael's with that press release from the other day?
So that's funny thing is that DE Wine Spot. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I don't know.
But they're like one of those like Seal Box, or those maybe not Seal Box is a good comparison, but like one of those whiskey selling retailers online, and they send out a picture of Michter's barrel strength rye, I think.
I don't remember what.
And they're like, we got Michael's whiskey in. And you're
Michael's.
Like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, sweetie, you don't know this, do you? Like, yeah. But anyway, yes, like Michael's rye. Anyway, completely went bankrupt in the terrible U.S. time of whiskey that we like to call the late 1980s, early 1990s. But in 1990, it was taken on again by one guy, or rather two guys, but really it's mostly one guy. There's Joseph J. Magliocco, Joe Magliocco, and apparently there's a mobster by that name, but not related. And then the Dick Newman, and I believe Dick Newman was he had worked at Austin Nichols. which is the Wild Turkey brand for a while, or like the Wild Turkey company for a while. And he picked up, or they both picked up the unused trademark of Michter's, whatever you want to call it, and began to make whiskey under the name. And other products from Michter's, there's a lot. There's the straight rye, straight bourbon, American whiskey. They got a sour mash whiskey, but they have also a 10-year rye and a 10-year bourbon, and they're both single barrels. But they also have a 20 and 25-year bourbon, and apparently they also have a 25-year rye, which I can only imagine is worth like $100,000 on the secondary market.
It's a lot. I don't remember what it is, but yes, it is.
What's like Mick 25 running, do you think?
Honestly, I don't remember. It's slinging numbers here, but it's definitely single digits, thousands, in the middle of single digits, thousands. It might be 8-ish or 6-ish. It's up there. Yeah.
Have you ever had 20 or 25 bourbon?
Absolutely not.
So I smelled a 20. That was all I could do. I was at a bar. I was like, hey, it's me.
And then I woke up the next day and I was like, what happened?
Exactly. There was blood everywhere. Yeah. That's what I thought you meant. But I smelled it and it was like the most marshmallowy bourbon I've ever smelled. It was incredible.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I know. It's got to be heavenly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I think John Hughes has tried them.
I believe
shout out to that baller.
If anyone has, I believe it's John Hughes.
Mm-hmm. At least I think he's had the Celebration, which is another one they do.
You know, actually, I just before we pressed record, I saw something where somebody was saying that the value of 2-ounce samples of all these 25 rye, Michter's 25 bourbon, 20-year bourbon, maybe even Celebration in there, like all these ridiculous Michters, the value of 2-ounce samples of all, I don't know, 6 of those or so was like $3,500.
Goodness.
In terms of samples.
Yeah. And I've seen even things, I saw an article a few years back that was like, Michter's is one of the most secondary goes up quite a bit, at least on the 10-year and above realm. It's like it's one of the highest turnaround brands in terms of the jump from retail to secondary.
Yeah, and like demanding that premium. Like people just look at it and they're like,
yeah. You know what it used to be? Jefferson's.
Really?
Because they used to source all this stuff, and they used to have their presidential selection.
Yeah.
I've said this on the podcast before. One of the best ryes I've ever had was a Jefferson's Presidential 21 and 25-year rye.
Oh, you've had that?
Yeah. I had it at the bar I worked at. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. God, I need to just quit my job and go work at a bar or something.
So, okay. I thought about that the other day, and I'm all talk today. I'm the one who keeps veering off. So sorry, new listeners. This is how we do it on this podcast. But one of the best things that I ever did was when I lived in Madison, Wisconsin, I just started working a shift on Sundays at a liquor store. Shout out to Steve's on University. Am I right? Ben knows what I'm talking about. There we go. But anyway, I worked there for probably 9 months of the year I lived there, maybe even more. But I just worked Sundays, and it was good, and it was awesome. I worked with this guy named John. He was amazing. But anyway,
John Hughes.
Yeah, shout out to John Hughes. Ding. No, he was awesome. He understood me. We were like bromancing the whole time. And I'm sure John Hughes would bromance and understand me the whole time. But anyway. Towards like December, Christmas was coming around, and I get handed a bottle of George T. Stagg, and I'm like, I don't even care what they tell you. And I bought it at retail, so they made me pay for it, but it was like $100. I don't even care what they tell you. That was worth every Sunday of working there, was to get a bottle of George T. Stagg handed to me.
Totally. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I didn't make much money, but it was good for side cash. So yeah. Anyway, let's get back into this. I heard they source from Brown-Forman. Might be wrong, but I imagine they might have a few sourcing sources.
Yeah.
But I don't know how true that is. Do you know if anyone else sources from Brown-Forman? I've never heard of that, but I heard a rumor.
It might just be rumor territory, but Uncle Nearest also
Okay, I could
used
see that.
to,
They are
or
Tennessee
it was
whiskey,
just a
so
rumor. Yeah.
and it doesn't taste like Dickel, I'll tell you that. So,
But it is, or some of it is.
okay, good to know. Which
Yeah.
ones, you know?
So all I know is Trevor's store that I always talk
Okay.
about. The pickmaster Elon, he was there picking it, having the
Nice.
conversations, and their barrel, their Uncle Nearest single barrel strength, whatever,
Said Dickel on the barrel.
is 100% Dickel juice. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. They were not, of course, allowed to put that on the label or anything, or like, but just, word of mouth, I guess they're kind of allowed to just say whatever they want. But I don't know.
That makes sense. Yeah. But then again, we talked about Brown-Forman last week. Yeah, we talked about Brown-Forman last week. And technically, Woodford is basically Brown-Forman. But it's technically, it's Brown-Forman juice, even though it's technically a Brown-Forman brand. So I guess I can't say that. But it's technically Old Forester juice for the most part, outside of their own pot still mixed in. So
yeah.
Anyway, so Michter's 10 single barrel rye. This is a single barrel product. All barrels are different, and they are cut to the same proof, but they are technically all different. So maybe we'll get an even better barrel than what Breaking Bourbon gave a 5 out of 5.
Give it a 6 out of 5.
Yeah, exactly. I'll give it a 5.9 out of 5. But this is a close by barrel to the one. Like I said, this is or like Bryan said, this is a 23H3101. And the one that Bryan has, or rather the one that was on Breaking Bourbon, was 23H2895. Not far. So
about 200 better, apparently.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, actually just a little over. Yeah, 200 better. You're right. This it also could stink. It could be terrible. Who knows?
Could be 200 worse.
It could be like the one I'm drinking right now that's like decent up front, but the finish is like watery as crap.
Boo.
Speaking of watery as crap, 92.8 proof, 10 year, and it is a rye. It's not, this watery as crap is not 92. I was just joking, of course.
The color is just gorgeous on it too, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean this. It's so
next
caramely
to that thick
brown
base. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a good caramely brown on this thing. It's like, okay. I almost tipped my hand a little bit. I do have some thoughts about at least mine already. Mine that is only 5 numbers off from the Breaking Bourbon barrel, but I guess one thing that I'll say is it does not drink 92 proof.
The one that we're drinking.
No, I haven't had the one that you're drinking.
Oh, cool. So we get to taste this fresh together.
I'm so glad I've made this as confusing as possible. Cole, the one that you're drinking today is Max's with 3101.
You haven't had Max's.
I haven't had that yet.
Sweet. Fresh territory.
Yeah.
Are you opening the
here's what I did. I've already got mine poured, and I put a little piece of the electrical tape. I just slapped it on the Glen here, so I remember which one's which. Okay, first observation, I swirled it, and it is clinging to the glass.
Nice
and then
legs.
and then the legs start to come down, but it just, after you swirl it, it just clings, and you're just looking through a sheet of whiskey for so long until the legs start to go. It's impressive.
Is that normal?
What's wrong with this?
Yeah. All right.
Big cherry on the nose.
Great notes.
Yeah, right. Do you still have a little bit of your other year? What year was it?
Yes, I do. But it's in a different kind of glass. It's in my water.
Yeah.
But the nose is quite different.
Right.
Quite different. I feel like this is more the nose of my old one is caramel. This is hard candy and fruit and cherry.
Ah, very good. Very good. Yeah. That that glass type's just going to change the intensity a little bit at least. I mean, I'm sure you can search for the same types of notes at least.
I don't know. They're pretty different though.
That's true.
Yeah, they're different. I like it. I have a feeling this will be a killer rye.
Yeah.
Goes to show you, don't judge a whiskey by its batch.
You know what? On the nose, this kind of reminds me of, like, it has a thickness and syrupiness that reminds me of like the Jack Daniel's twice barreled rye. Like it just like smells like it's gonna have viscosity for days. It smells like it's gonna be syrupy and everything. It smells good. A lot of cherry and oak on the nose, especially.
First sip's a winner, but I'm not gonna give any notes yet. Really good rye. So one of the things I noticed, actually, I'll go a little bit of notes. One of the things I noticed up front of this palate is that it is nice and hard candy up front, like first, and it's not as sharply sweet as, I don't know, like what would I compare this to? Like what's a good barrel proof rye?
Oh, I thought you were going the candy route. What candy would you compare this to?
No. What's a good barrel proof rye besides Handy?
Nulu.
Yeah, like Nulu. Yeah, like nice and candy. Nulu's got a nice, at least the good ones I've had. Nice. I gotta send you that one that tastes like grass.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's really bold, hard candy, full bodied. But this one is interesting. It's got some complexity. At first, it's that nice, sweet, sugary, bright sweetness. And then it fades into this like really nice vanilla caramel, but not too like soft caramely, but it has this really cool fade, right? I've only sipped it once, so I'm gonna get one more.
Yeah, I just did 2 sips in a row. What hit me first was a little thin, not in a bad way, just it was not thick and syrupy right away. And the very first landing note is oaky and kind of dry wood, a little tannic.
Yep.
And mid palate is where the candy fruit kind of swoops in.
Okay.
So it flows into that rich, it's almost like the viscosity, the intensity. I don't know. One of those words in there somewhere. I'm feeling a little bit, but in the middle, yeah, that's it. That's the one I was going for. The mid palate is where I get all of the flavor. It really peaks in the mid palate, and then the finish slowly trails off with more of like the kind of rich, brown, sugary, oakiness for a medium long finish, closer to long finish, but I don't want to say that it's too long because it's really still pretty light.
That's the I do believe the proof on this one. I was like, is it 100? No, it's not 100. Is it 90? Feels a little more than 90. So it's kind of in that mid-range, which it is. It's 92.8. Yeah, really good. The finish is not as much as I hoped it would be. Really good palate, front of the palate, really good nose, but the finish is light and oaky, but it's not like incredibly oaky where you're like, like get off my tongue, or like it's drying out my tongue. But the finish is the only thing that lacks for me for this one.
I'm going back and forth now between Max's and mine. I think Max's is sweeter and more candy. And mine is a little more traditional rye with a little bit of rye spice and more tannic oak. So just first sip impression, I think Max's might be a little better than mine.
Oh, cool.
Because mine falls just a smidge flatter than Max's, because mine doesn't have some of that. Mine lacks a little of the intensity on the candy sweet that Max's has.
Gotcha.
So, and again, mine is that one that's only 5 barrel numbers lower than Breaking Bourbons.
Yeah. Goes to show you, don't judge a single barrel by its barrel.
Single barrel product. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. And like it goes like, it's funny because like, yeah, Henry McKenna's, they're single barrels. So did you know, I think I told you this, Eagle Rare is basically single barrels.
You
They're at max
you
2
didn't
barrels.
mention this recently, I just heard this within the last week.
Yeah.
Oh,
really?
Like
yeah. They just finish off and move to the next.
Yeah, but like before it runs out, that's when they add the next barrel. So technically, a smidge of the previous barrel ends up mixed in.
Interesting. I figured they like filled up the barrel the bottle halfway and then filled up the rest from the next batch. But
that's too complicated.
Is it though?
Well, but honestly, I didn't do the research. I don't personally know. What I heard is that when they're going through the bottling process, when they're bottling from the container, when that container gets to the point where it's at the bottom, that's when they dump the next barrel.
That makes sense.
They can't technically call it a single barrel because a smidge blended together.
But theoretically, the first batch
that's true.
Was still in the last batch.
If they ever break the continuous bottling process, then that next one would be a single barrel.
Yeah. So, but this is good. This is
yeah. You know what? Cinnamon. Long after the sip, well after the finish, while I was just talking and letting it sit, baking spice on the side of cinnamon is what's just like residual left in my mouth afterwards. And it is very pleasant, very nice.
Yeah, it's good. I just wish it were a little more oomph.
Of course, yeah.
And I'm not saying that because I'm not even a proof head. I can enjoy Eagle Rare any day, or even Tin Cup any day. But I think this is a little watery at the end, not at the front or the nose or anything. I think it's a little watery on the finish.
Comparing again, mine's more believably 10 years. Max's almost tastes a little more youthy than mine. Where like if I was trying to guess which one of these is an older, of course they're both the same, but I'd guess mine was older because of all that tannic oak and everything. So yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting though to compare these two. Did you go water?
I don't know which one I appreciate more now that I sipped my 2021 batch.
Oh yeah.
Even though it's more caramel, I like the finish more on my batch.
Oh.
Now I gotta cleanse the palate.
What was the finish on your batch? What was the deal with that? Was it just like more intense?
Yeah, a little more intense, but also not as oaky, I guess.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, I guess we all know
more sweet
you're
on the finish.
Not a huge fan of the over oaked stuff.
Yeah. But then again, sometimes I'm impressed. But most of the time, if it's oaky and astringent, I'm out.
Most of all, listeners,
I hope that our love of spirits lifted your whiskey. Welcome to Chill Filtered. This is where we say everything backwards.
Yeah. I added a smidge of water, the smidgest of smidges, because it's 92 proof. I don't want to do too much here, but I think Cole just sipped some water, but I probably just did like 2 drops here.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's decent with some water.
Has it changed?
I think so. It's better finish.
Of course, I'm confusing myself here, going back and forth between two different batches. But I mean, on the nose, it still just smells the exact kind of oaky baking spice that I got previously.
It's weird. It kind of amps up the bite. Which I don't often bring up in an episode, but there's a kind of a bite to it. Like a Maker's Mark always has a bite to me, and it's not always a bad thing.
That bite that you're talking about might be the slight bit of youthiness that I was interpreting versus my 2890. Yeah, it is. Well, you tell me, is it maybe like an ABV kind of bite? Is it a little bit of astringency?
It's kind of an astringency bite. I'm ready to add some ice. I think it was good with water, but I do think I actually liked it best neat.
Yeah, I did too. Had more of the candy, hard candy. Neither of us said the words hard candy when we were sipping water.
Yeah. All right. Oh, there's more liquid in here.
Hey-o, wow, the level went up? How is that possible?
How can you make more whiskey?
I have a cat to my right who is snoring right now.
That's funny. Can't hear him.
Hope over the course of the last maybe 5 minutes, I really hope you could hear like a little.
Yeah. Normally we're like, we don't want to hear outside noises, but here we do.
Yeah. I mean, welcome to Chill Filtered, the cat snoring podcast.
Yeah. The cat sleepy, whispery, snory.
He had too much whiskey. He's passed out.
Weird viscosity with ice to me. Like good. Like it's like weirdly thicker.
More viscosity?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When you what is it? What's the old phrase? When you
Oh, it's thicker when you put it in your. It gets thicker when you put it in your mouth.
Oh, when you put it in your mouth. I was like, did ice get involved there? But yeah,
oh
when
my
you put
gosh.
it in your mouth, it gets
God, how long ago was that one, man? That was forever ago.
And I remember what episode that was, and that was Rendezvous Rye. So it had to be like the first 20 episodes. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Are you getting the viscosity that I'm getting though?
I haven't sipped yet, and I need to soon here. My ice is almost gone. It's getting very cold, so write that one down. Nose is very, very wood. All I get is wood on the nose. All I get is oak.
All I do is wood, no matter
what. It smells really good though. I mean, the wood smells real good. I like smelling wood. Apparently, I don't know. All right, I better sip now.
I think the oak shows up too much with the ice, even though I like the viscosity. Too oaky, not 100%. Better than neat.
Literally, all it is oak with ice. Yeah,
yeah, it's true. There's no candy. There's a little bit of sweetness, but it's kind of faded in oaky sweetness. Yeah, I like the neat best. Yeah, my problem with rating this one is that, in the front of the palate, it is really good. And then the mid palate turns into something very complex, but then the finish just kind of leaves me wanting more. But let this be a lesson to all of our listeners. Don't judge a single barrel by its barrel. Because I have a feeling Breaking Bourbon had it perfectly right with whatever they were drinking. And the fact is that, even Bryan's noticing differences in his barrels.
Yeah.
Not saying this one's bad, but I'm definitely not saying this is Hubba to What. I think this is a solid rye, but not for $200, which I forgot to mention. Retail for this release was $200. Yeah. I wouldn't pay $200 for this.
I was pulling up my review. I kind of wrote up a little review on our Discord, which, by the way, if any of you all would like to join our Discord, just send us an Instagram message. We'll send you an invite. No big deal. Yeah,
easy.
I reviewed this.
Or hit us up at chillfilteredpodcast@gmail.com.
Chillfilteredpodcast@gmail.com. Nice. I 222 February 22. I wrote up a little review on this on the Discord of my bottle that I got that was 5 digits off of Breaking Bourbons. And nose, I said rich baking spices, cherry, that's super sweet, like a cherry pie kind of cherry.
Nice.
And palate, oak and rye spice, not a lot of the cherry sweetness on the palate and everything. But I gave this like an 8.8 originally. Maybe I shouldn't have looked that up before I rated this, but of course this was mine, not Max's.
Yeah.
But like I'm feeling the same though. I feel like 8.8 is just below 9, kind of where I want this to be. The number one takeaway is still the same for me. My number one takeaway previously, my number one takeaway now is that the most impressive thing about this is if you didn't know what the proof was and you're sipping it and you're like, okay, cool. And then somebody tells you, oh, by the way, this is 92 proof. You'd be like, what? Like there's a lot of flavor here and there's some viscosity here that is above what you'd think of for something that's 92 proof, where it just like it punches above its weight, but does it punch so high to, be compared against other things like BTAC and other crazy things? Maybe not quite. No. So this lands about an 8.8 for me, and it easily gets an A. I can't give it an A plus because I don't think that it's not immediately like this is something special, but as soon as you sip this, you're like, this is a dang good rye.
Yeah. I'm at an 8.5 here, and I'm happy with that rating. I think it is good rye. I think if you were just to average out all the factors of this, like the palate, the nose, everything, especially on the neat pour, it would be a really good rye. But it's lacking to be really, really, or hubba to what, anything. I want to give this an A- on this one. I think it is just below very good. Definitely a good, definitely better than your average whiskey. But I'm going to give it an A-, 8.5.
There's
I
one
just
more.
wish it had a little more oomph in flavor and proof on the finish, especially.
Yeah. One more thing that I would ask you to consider while we are rating this. Have you ever had something 92-ish proof? Like, what's the first thing that you recall when you think, like, what's the best 92 proof whiskey you can think of? What comes to your mind immediately? Is there anything?
Glendronach.
Okay, outside of the world of Scotch, can you think of any bourbons or ryes that you're like, dang, I had that and it was only X proof and it really stands
Eagle
out
Rare.
in my mind? What is Eagle Rare?
And it's a 10-year.
I'm blanking. So. What is Eagle Rare proof?
90. Yeah.
90. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Now, not the question of what would you reach for an everyday drinker, but like, which do you think could be appreciated as a better whiskey more, Eagle Rare or this?
Even at the price point, even if they have the same price point, I would drink Eagle Rare over this.
If they were at the same price point.
Yeah, which is saying something when it's a $200 bottle versus a $40 bottle.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I think I'd lean this way. The baking spices and the rye, the baking spice rye spice. That's my preferred notes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm on this train, and like, of course, as we've discussed, I don't have that encyclopedia brain where I can just recall an entire library of stuff at once. So I'm not the right guy to ask, like, quick, think of something really quickly. But regardless, I can't think of anything low proof better than this. This is easily top 5 or top 3 low proof whiskeys I've ever had. So I do really like it.
I hate to say this, but I would choose Sazerac 6 over this too.
Oh yeah, Baby Sass.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a blind tasting that we'll need to do sometime.
Yeah, we should do something like that. But another shout out to Max. Sip slow, keep kind. Love that guy. Now that we've talked about ratings, let's go over to the next segment of the show that we like to call Whiskey World News.
All right, welcome back. This is Whiskey World News, where we normally read an article that we didn't write, but today, instead of reading an article, we're just going to chat. We're just going to chat about some upcoming releases.
Nice.
Not the typical end of month upcoming releases like I normally do, but these are extra special. These come from Jack Daniels, and you might have seen, listener might have seen on such sources as, say, Coming Whiskey on Instagram, teasing all these Jack Daniels releases that are supposedly coming later this year. And there are 2 in particular that I want to mention. And the first one is the Jack Daniels 14 year. Did you see this?
Official, peeps. Keep an eye out for a 16-year next year.
I know, right?
But like 14-year Jack Daniels, and it's 125 proof.
Okay, now hold on.
Is that a placeholder?
Maybe.
Okay.
That I didn't. Of course, no one knows. But the places where people were chatting about this, people were kind of saying like, "No, I bet the 125 is just a placeholder."
Is it? I mean, it's not a barrel proof product. And neither were the 12 or 10.
True.
So I have a feeling it's 125.
Actually, you have a good point there, because there's nothing on the label that says barrel proof.
Why wouldn't they put the exact proof on there?
Yeah, right. Another funny thing too, on the Coming Whiskey, like where they like share the marketing labels or whatever, the text of Jack Daniels is super like teal blue. Yeah. And I remember when they did this, when they previously released when they previously posted
12 or 10.
Yeah, the 12 and 10. It was also blue.
Oh, interesting.
Like, I
so
was
it might
like,
be
oh man.
or gold like these ones are right here.
Well, okay, now hold on. I was like, dang, that's so cool. This year's Jack Daniel's 10 and 12s are gonna have blue text, and
Maybe.
they don't. They don't at all.
Oh,
It's not blue.
so it's probably gonna be gold.
Yeah, the Jack Daniel's 14 is not gonna be blue like this.
Oh, I was looking forward to that.
I know, because the blue color is really freaking
Kinda,
cool. I don't know
hot.
why it's blue,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, yeah, it's super good looking. But
Yeah.
who knows on the proof? Proof might be 125. I mean, I hope it's over 107, because that's like, and there was a great debate here.
Could you imagine?
I gotta get your take on this here. If, let's say, the proof is 125, or the proof is at least, like up there. It's let's say the proof is well above 107.
Yeah.
Guess the price. We're guessing the price right now.
What is the 12-year now?
The 12-year, I think. No, actually, I think MSRP is technically 100 flat. In Phoenix, stores had it for 110, 115. So like that's the realm. That's the realm.
I like Chris Fletcher. I like Jack Daniels. I want to say they're not gonna nickel and dime us. I believe they would do a 150 max on 14.
Okay, all right. 150, good. Yeah. My guess, which I've put thought into this, I had more time to think about this than Cole, to be clear, but my guess is 180. I think they're gonna.
I would pay 180 for a 14-year Jack Daniels.
I think this is exponentially going to go up. 10-year is like 80-ish. 12-year is 100-ish. I think that this is exponentially going to go up because, more years at the higher ABV, you lose more angel share. I'm 180 is
it
my
is
guess.
Exponential, that angel share.
I assumed so. I hadn't really thought super hard about it, but
you think about it, there's more space, there's more air in the barrel, more the angel share is taken up, and the more air, the more volatility, and the more volatility, the more evaporation.
Boom.
You're an engineer.
Yeah, I totally knew that. That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, absolutely.
I learned that from Engineering 101.
Oh, moving on.
Are you an engineer? You're an engineer, right?
Yeah, no, I am. I'm just teasing like I'm a dumbass.
No, either way, yeah.
Kind of am sometimes. But moving on to the other Jack Daniel's release that I'm super looking forward to is the Jack Daniel's Coy Hill special release.
Hot stuff.
I know, right? So what do you remember? Was it 2 years ago?
So Coy Hill was originally released in 2020, I think.
Oh, so 3-4 years ago.
So remember, didn't Coy Hill come out before Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof Rye?
I don't even know.
I think it did. And
actually,
Jack Daniel's the special release.
I totally believe that it did, though, because I know Coy Hill has been around for a while, and the Jack. You meant special release of the Barrel Strength Rye.
I think it was right before that.
I also think it did, but I did not do that research. But so what, 3-4 years ago? 3-4 years ago, they came out with a Coy Hill Jack Daniel's release. And the special thing about Coy Hill, actually, did I copy it here? Let me read it. It
was
here.
Aged on Coy Hill and Jack Daniel's distillery, what do you call it? Property.
Word for word. That's exactly what it says on the
especially
on the label.
With the stutters throughout.
With all the ums and ohs and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
On the label, this is what it says: this exceptional whiskey from Coy Hill, the highest point at Jack Daniel Distillery.
Hot stuff.
Wait, I just learned something. It says Jack Daniel Distillery. So Jack Daniel's
misprint
with apostrophe S, like. The distillery is technically called Jack Daniel.
Let's find this out.
Cole is furiously looking at a bottle in his hands right now. Cole is putting that bottle back on the shelf and grabbing another bottle.
It does not say distillery.
Oh, what's that distillery that you visited while you were in Tennessee?
It does say Jack Daniel Distillery on the bottom there.
Oh my gosh. Who in their rightful mind would say, oh yes, when I was in distillery, I visited the Jack Daniel Distillery.
Yeah.
That's now so weird. Okay. All right. Let me start over again. I derailed that whole thing. Wow. This exceptional whiskey from Coy Hill, the highest point at Jack Daniel Distillery, is aged on the middle floors of Barrel House 8, delivering a distinct taste and well-rounded flavor at a wide range of proofs. And that wide range of proofs, ladies and gentlemen,
is usually about 140.
Yeah, some are a little below 140, some are a bit above 140.
I've seen like a 150 Coy Hill.
Oh, really? Oh,
no, like it was like 148 or something like that.
Yeah,
but I haven't seen it in real life, but I've seen online.
Yeah, online also. I've seen 147s, 148s. Those are 1-for-1 George T. Stagg right now. I'm pretty sure they've gone up in value over the last 2 years, while just about everything else has gone down in value over the last 2 years. It's kind of insane. Yeah. But who knows what proofs these are going to be? These could be, 140. These could be 140 plus, but there will be a Coy Hill release this year from Jack Daniels, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
That's cool. Now I could use one of those. Cross my fingers for the drops in Virginia.
That's my number one.
I can see Coy Hill being a lottery soon for Virginia.
Yeah, that's my number one right now. I've been like, if there's one thing I want for the rest of the year, if I only get one more thing for the rest of the year, I want it to be Coy Hill, because people have hyped this so much from several years ago. Yeah, it's just like,
have you ever had some?
So good. No. Actually, I cannot remember 100%, but I might have tried some at a bar one time.
Nice.
And it was at a bar, so I don't know. Maybe I ordered
Coy Hill it out last minute,
and they're like, "We don't have any Coy Hill. Let's just give them this Jack Daniel's single barrel proof." But I mean, what I had was really good, and I really enjoyed it. So cool. I may or may not have had Coy Hill. I don't know.
That's cool. The Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye was a 131 that I got 2 days ago. Most of the ones I'm finding are 130 plus.
Yeah. So the AJ's right now here in Phoenix, they've got a 133 point something in the glass case right now.
Shout out to Marco and KC AZ, who asked me about that this week. He said, I can't even find Jack Daniel's barrel proof rye in Arizona.
Oh, dude, AJ's. Go right now.
Yeah.
Monday afternoon, whenever you listen to this, go to AJ's. They've got them.
Yeah,
they've got them.
That's good. Yeah, and get it good, Marco and AZ. That's Whiskey World News for you. Do we have last week's results, or did you have anything more? I hate to cut you off.
Nope. Okay, cut me off anytime. I tend to ramble sometimes, but what whiskey would you choose?
One time I was at a whiskey tasting, and it was a bunch of Christian people, and one guy's like, "Cut them off." He was like half serious because this girl was like getting loopy, and she's like, "Cut her off."
Oh wow, call her out. Jeez, what a guy.
And it was mostly like joking, but it was like, hey, take me serious, don't serve her anymore. Like,
oh yeah, like I'm pretending like I'm joking, but I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. Joking. It was kind of funny. Shout out to Jack.
All right, well, cut me off. We're moving into what whiskey would you choose now? So last week we polled our Instagram followers. What whiskey? I'm sorry, let me start over again. What is your number one whiskey that you would actually drink that you wish you could pay MSRP for? And I said, please don't write in Double Eagle Very Rare unless you're shilling out $2,000 for that.
What was the winner between me and you?
Between me and you, so I said Pappy 15. That was what I was really hoping I was going to be able to win.
I think I won. At least when I looked at it, I was winning.
You said Eagle Rare 17, and between Eagle Rare 17 and Pappy 15, we tied.
Oh, really? Another tie this week. Wow.
Yeah, 50-50. And there was a substantial amount of votes to this. It's very split among the community here what people would enjoy drinking and actually like drinking between Eagle Rare 17 and Pappy 15. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Some people, people hate on Eagle Rare 17. I mean, it has gone up in proof.
Yeah.
But it is a killer pour.
Yeah,
it's special.
For sure. Got a good amount of write-ins though. We got Marco and AZ. While you're at AJ's looking for this Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye, go ahead and ask them if they have any George T. Stagg and see what they say. But Marco and AZ.
Good way to get laughed at.
Marco wrote down George T. Stagg. That's what he wishes they had at AJ's right now.
Killer, yeah.
For sure. We have a new write-in from somebody I'm unfamiliar with here. So
Nice.
Travis said.
We'll take it, Travis.
So he wrote in WLW. He wants a William LaRue Weller.
William LaRue Weller.
Madtown Marketer wrote in Ben Klepsig. He
Ayo.
says King of Kentucky. And actually,
that's a killer one.
If I had had my right mind about me, I probably would have said King of Kentucky over Pappy 15.
Have you ever had a King of Kentucky?
No, but it is inevitable. I will make that happen someday.
We had one episode where we got a sample of that. It was amazing.
Do you remember who sent it in?
Yeah, it was Brendan Hunt from Bourbon Charity. And it was a killer pour, yeah.
All right. Well, if he's got any more, please send that.
He probably does. He's in your area, so.
Is he really in Arizona?
He's in Chandler.
Oh my! I had no idea.
That's how we met when I lived in Chandler and Gilbert. We hit it off. Yeah.
I
would hit him up every few weeks, and we would just work on Bourbon Charity stuff and drink whiskey. It was amazing. Like that's where I tried the OFC.
Yeah.
That's where I tried William LaRue Weller from 2009.
And
that's where I tried.
He gifted you.
He gifted me the dregs of his seasoned wood bottle, which reminded me that it's still as good as it ever was.
Yeah.
Same as it ever was.
You know,
anyway.
I know
Shout
that
out
reference.
To Talking Head fans.
What if I know him and I've seen him around and I just didn't know what his name was?
Dude, he's the nicest guy ever.
Nice.
Like he is a good dad, a good person. He's just who you expect someone to start a charity based on bourbon to be like. Like he's amazing.
That's cool.
Shout out to Brandon Hunt of the Bourbon Charity. And keep an eye out, listeners. If you're interested in Bourbon Charity, they're doing a fundraiser right now. So check them out, bourboncharity.com.
Nice.
And you can win yourself maybe some bottles. Yeah.
Nice. So more write-ins here. We got Whiskey with Max. Oh, Max wrote in. It's Whiskey with Max.
Hey-o.
He said Jack Daniel's American Single Malts.
Really?
He's been all over the single malts lately. I've seen him in the chat channels here. He's been just digging on single malts.
Scooping them up.
So he ordered some Del Bach recently, and Del Bach shipped him Ode to Isla.
You're gonna love it. Where's he from?
Michigan, I think.
Okay,
Michigan or Ohio, right around there. I can't remember.
Midwesty.
So he got an Ode to Isla, and he got a spring release of the last year's spring release, the one that was tequila finished and everything.
So he's an appreciator of good bourbon and good single malts. So
yeah, he's been digging on the ode lately. Paul Clarkson wants a Heaven Hill 17. This year though, Heaven Hill 18. Let's say.
Nice.
I hope Paul gets a Heaven Hill something one of these days. We got another new one. Who are all these people? Goldstone, Gold Standard wrote in.
Gold Standard.
E.H. Taylor single barrel store pick all day. Love those E.H. Taylor store picks.
Love it.
Bro Aska Testwasa, not a new guy. We know this guy. Absolutely Eagle Rare 17. Doubling down on the Eagle Rare 17.
Oh,
He was one away at his last lottery from it. He got a George T. Stagg as a consolation, but he really wanted that Eagle Rare.
The crazy thing is they're not like Eagle Rare is much more value than George T. Stagg these days.
Which is crazy. I mean, like, I don't know if it's just purely a scarcity thing or what.
It's probably a scarcity thing, yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Kilted 518 Miles Ferguson. He also said, my first thought was Eagle Rare 17, but I'd also go for an E.H. Taylor 4 grain.
Oh, yeah. So he tried that. I actually introduced him to E.H. Taylor 4 grain. And his wife, Patricia, was calling out killer notes on that.
As she does.
Yeah, as she always does.
During the drink alarms.
And I think it might have been one of Miles's favorite bourbons he's ever had. Yeah.
Fantastic. Nice.
Shout out to them.
Yep. That's it for the write-ins, though. And so I will ask you now for next week, for what whiskey would you choose? What whiskey did you acquire the furthest from home? Where were you when you acquired this whiskey that you were the furthest from home?
So, we travel, me and you, we go places. We be places. And everywhere we go, we look in liquor stores, like no matter where. And so I was in London and I was looking at liquor stores. No dice. But the most recent travel I did to Europe, which was right before COVID, I went to Paris, and I went to it's like a big name there. They have a few locations, but it's like I forget. Maison do whiskey or something like that.
Do you know, is it government regulated by chance?
No, there were. I don't think so, because there were different ones in Paris. There were different stores. And this one, I walked in and didn't see too much. Walked downstairs and saw at least seven barrels in terms of bottles, but different barrels of the bottles of Single Oak Project. And I needed at least one, and I regret not buying more. But I did get the barrel 16, and the barrel 16 was phenomenal.
Nice.
And so that's the furthest I ever went. Not intentionally for whiskey, but I was going to stop at places while I was away. So
yeah, for sure. So Paris. Traveling. Sam and I love to travel.
You've traveled.
Highly recommend New Zealand
places.
If you're deciding where to go next, go to New Zealand. I'll answer that right now. But Iceland is a close number 2, though. Iceland was
Iceland.
Yeah. And go to Iceland if you want a more rugged outdoor experience. Go to New Zealand if you want more of a chill, I can drive anywhere and see anything kind of experience. So we were in Iceland. Oh man, how many years ago? Only just 1 or 2. I'm not going to think about it right now. But in Iceland, it is government regulated. There are stores called Vinbuden, Vin like wine, Buden like Bryan.
Buden the wine or Buden the vins.
So when you're out there Buden the vins, they got some whiskey sections in there too. They've got some American whiskey sections in there. But there's Icelandic whiskey that we're all lovingly familiar with. If you've been listening to the podcast,
if you like sheep dung smoked things,
you know about Floki sheep dung smoked whiskey. So
of course, the worst thing in the world. Their birch finish one, on the other hand, was terrible.
Yeah, right. Birch was not as good as sheep dung, if you can believe it or not. Yeah. But so yes, I did not go all the way to Iceland just to buy this whiskey. But I was not going to come home from Iceland without buying some Floki sheep dung smoke whiskey.
That's cool. No, you just gotta bring it home. What does the bottle look like? It's a nice looking bottle.
Is it? Oh, I do have it. Okay, nice. So we're in the middle of getting our dining room done. So
you put bottles in the recording room.
If I'm not going to tilt this camera down, but I've got just rows of bottles behind me. Yeah, I'll grab it.
Okay.
In the dining room, though, we're getting some cabinets put in. So hopefully my backdrop here, as much as we all love the cats, my backdrop might change here in a month or two when all that's finally done with getting shelves installed and everything. But for now, all my whiskey is right here. So Cole's going to do a little dance while I reach over and grab.
No, I'm not going to do a little dance. I'm going to talk about how much I love a good thick base. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you got it.
All right. So in Iceland, they have much thinner bases in Iceland.
Yeah.
On their whiskey bottles, but
it's cold. You don't want a thick base out there.
That's true. You gotta put on layers in Iceland.
Yeah.
And now in front of the camera, audio listeners, I'm holding up a bottle of Floki. It has some Icelandic ancient witchcraft symbols.
Ooh,
I'm not kidding. It truly is like ancient witchcraft stuff. Nice. And there's history behind this too. When I took the tour, they told me these 3 crows symbolize the original Floki, the Viking guy who discovered Iceland.
Nice.
would send crows, and when he sent his 3rd crow, it finally came back and had found land or something.
Sounds biblical.
Can't quite remember, but yeah, maybe, I don't know. Always in the 3s.
That's the story of the flood. At least he sent out 1 or 2 crows, and then the dove came back.
So yeah, Floki basically is Jesus, and then he sheep dung smoked whiskey, and here we have it,
like
folks.
Ezekiel. So weird fact about me is that I grew up, and I still am a Christian. I go to church,
and I'm still growing up.
I'm still growing up, but I know random things about the Bible like crazy. Like, it's funny. Miles,
that's the weirdest thing.
Miles knows. Not weird things, but more so like I just know random things that you wouldn't expect people to remember.
So if you're doing Bible trivia, you're my bro.
Oh, dude, no further than this guy right here. Like, I get into Bible trivia.
Oh, so Bible trivia is a real thing. I mean, I guess it is.
Oh,
I never
totally.
really thought
No.
about
I mean,
it.
you go to church for your whole life. There's Bible trivia. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but you want me on your team. Yeah.
Nice. I'll keep that in mind next time I show up to Bible trivia.
Next time you go to a trivia night and they're like, the theme tonight is Bible.
I'll have you on speakerphone, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. So, is that all we got for what's it called? What whiskey would you choose?
Yeah,
you know, we didn't give our. No, you did. You talked about that.
Yeah. I should have had you, instead of doing a little dance while I was grabbing that bottle, I should have had you thinking about what whiskey we're gonna drink next week.
Yes. So what did we put it up against last week?
You know what? While you think about that, you think about that, oh yeah, we could just do Cowboy. But I will tease a little bit.
Tease away.
If y'all didn't know, this is episode 298.
298. We're only 2 away. If you do the math, if you guys listen, if you do the math, we're only 2 episodes away from episode 300.
Oh, we know you're better at math than that. So 2 episodes away from 300.
Me at math trivia, baby.
Now, like, I want to hype it, but I don't want to hype it because it's not set in stone yet. We're not set in stone yet, but if things work out the way that they're going to work out, we're going to have a killer 300th episode.
Best ever.
And if things don't work out the way that we want them to work out, we're still going to have a very good.
It might not be 300, but it's still going to be killer.
Yeah. There will be a killer episode coming out soon that we're super stoked for. We're working out some final logistics, so keep an ear to the ground on that. Yeah. And now I've given you enough time, Cole. What are we drinking next week?
We're going to be between Garrison Brothers Cowboy Bourbon. And you want to go to that Willie LaRue, maybe?
Ooh, we might need that for the 300 episode.
We might. Well, don't we have a stag to do for the 300?
I was thinking William LaRue Weller for 300.
Okay, then maybe we could put
Mega Plan doesn't
Cowboy against Stag.
Let's do it.
What was it? A 2019 or something? What was it?
2022 George T. Stag.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
2022 George T. Stag and last year's Cowboy from Garrison Brothers. So
perfect. That's
actually going to be a banger either way.
People love George T. Stag, but also
people are very intrigued by the big winner of a lot of awards last year.
So hot right now.
Cowboy. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I hope our listeners are as hopeful as I am for episode 300.
I hope this rain that's happening right now stops before I head out tonight for my buddy Rob's birthday.
Hey, Rob.
Rob, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Handsome Rob. And I hope that Handsome Rob has a killer birthday tonight.
And I hope that cat doesn't come try to bug me anymore while we're recording the Reentry Buzz.
Heyo, and I hope you're all watching the Reentry Buzzes this week. So we started season 2. So be ready. And I hope most of all, listeners, that our love of whiskey lifted your spirits.
Don't judge a single barrel by its barrel.